The idea of reading minds has long been a staple of science fiction, a power reserved for telepathic aliens or superheroes. It conjures images of peering directly into someone's innermost secrets, their private thoughts, and their hidden emotions. But here in the 21st century, on this day of June 15, 2025, a version of this technology is stepping out of the pages of fantasy and into the reality of our laboratories and hospitals. We call it mind-reading AI, but this name is both exciting and a little misleading. It's crucial to understand what this technology is, and perhaps more importantly, what it is not. It's not about some mystical psychic connection. It's about the intricate dance of electricity and chemistry happening inside our own skulls. Let's be very clear from the outset. Today's artificial intelligence cannot read your spontaneous private thoughts. It cannot know you're secretly craving ice cream or daydreaming about a vacation. This isn't telepathy. Instead, what scientists have achieved is something more focused and, in many ways, more practical. They have developed sophisticated systems that can interpret the brain's signals when a person is actively trying to perform a task. For instance, when you decide to speak a sentence, your brain generates a very specific pattern of neural activity. It is this intentional, task-related brain activity that AI is learning to decode, translating the silent intention into audible words or written text. The universe within our heads is a complex cosmos of neurons firing in elaborate sequences. Every movement we make, every word we hear, and every syllable we plan to utter creates a distinct electrical signature. For decades, scientists have been mapping these signatures, trying to understand the language of the brain. The recent revolution has come from pairing this neurological knowledge with the immense pattern recognition power of modern AI. The AI acts like a universal translator, not for a foreign language, but for the fundamental language of our own biology. It listens to the brain's electrical whispers, and with increasing accuracy, tells us what they mean. This journey from fiction to fact is a testament to human curiosity and our relentless drive to understand ourselves and the universe around us. We are not just observing the stars in the sky, we are beginning to map the constellations of thought within our own minds. This isn't about creating tools for espionage or control. It's about opening new doors of possibility, especially for those who have been silenced by injury or disease. The distinction is critical. We are not eavesdropping on the mind's secret conversations, but rather helping it broadcast a message it desperately wants to send. So, how does this translation from brain signal to coherent thought actually happen? It relies on a technology known as a brain-computer interface, or BCI. These interfaces are the bridges that connect the biological world of our brain to the digital world of computers. They come in two main varieties, invasive and non-invasive. Each approach has its own set of advantages and challenges, but both share the same fundamental goal. They aim to capture the faint electrical patterns generated by our neurons and feed them into an AI model that has been trained to recognize what those patterns represent in the real world. The invasive method is the most direct. It involves surgically placing a small array of electrodes directly onto or into the brain tissue. This might sound intense, and it is, but it provides the highest quality and most precise signals. Companies like Paradromics and China's NEO system are developing such implants. Because these sensors are right next to the neurons, they can pick up very fine-grained details of brain activity, almost like listening to individual conversations in a crowded room. This high-fidelity data allows for remarkable feats, such as enabling a person with paralysis to control a robotic arm, or, as recent breakthroughs show, to speak in real time through a digital avatar. On the other hand, non-invasive methods don't require surgery. Instead, they use devices worn on the head, like a cap fitted with sensors. Technologies like electroencephalography, or EEG, or functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, measure brain activity from outside the skull. Think of this as listening to the roar of the crowd from outside a stadium. You can get a good sense of the overall action, but the individual voices are lost in the noise. While less precise, the advantage is safety and accessibility. Researchers using systems like Brain LLM are making huge strides, using fMRI to decode the gist of stories someone is listening to, proving that even these external signals contain a wealth of information. Regardless of the method used to collect the data, the next step is where the AI works its magic. The raw brain signals are fed into a powerful algorithm, often a large language model similar to those that power chatbots. This AI has been trained on vast amounts of data, learning to associate specific neural patterns with specific words, phonemes, or imagined movements. For example, the pattern for thinking the word hello is different from the pattern for goodbye. The AI learns these correlations and, once trained, can predict the intended word or sentence from a new pattern of brain activity, effectively turning thought into text or speech. The most profound and immediate impact of this technology is its potential to restore communication and connection for people with severe disabilities. Imagine living with locked-in syndrome, where your mind is fully active and aware, but you're unable to move or speak. For these individuals, the world can become an incredibly isolating place. Brain-computer interfaces offer a lifeline, a way to break through the silence and reconnect with loved ones in the world. This is not a distant dream. It is happening right now, giving people back a fundamental part of their humanity, the ability to express themselves. Recent breakthroughs, like the system developed at UC Berkeley and UCSF, are changing lives. This BCI allows a paralyzed individual to speak through a digital avatar in near real time. By decoding signals from the brain's motor cortex, the area that controls movement, the AI can generate continuous, natural-sounding speech. The system is so advanced that it can even be trained on recordings of a person's own voice from before their injury, allowing them to speak with a voice that feels truly their own. One participant described the experience as giving them a renewed sense of control and embodiment, a powerful testament to the technology's impact. Beyond speech, these systems are expanding into other areas of neurorehabilitation and human-computer interaction. For someone who has suffered a stroke, an AI can analyze their brain activity as they attempt to move a limb, providing personalized feedback to help rewire neural pathways and speed up recovery. In the future, we might all interact with our devices differently. Instead of typing on keyboards or tapping on screens, we could compose emails, create art, or browse the internet simply by thinking. This would represent a seamless fusion of human intention and digital execution, a new frontier in how we interact with technology. The research is also providing us with an unprecedented window into the workings of the brain itself. By mapping which signals correspond to which functions, we are learning more about how language is formed, how thoughts are structured, and how consciousness arises from the complex network of our neurons. Each successful decoding of a brain signal is not just a technological victory, it is a scientific discovery. It deepens our understanding of the 3-pound universe we each carry inside our heads, the most complex object we have yet discovered in the cosmos. This knowledge is invaluable, paving the way for future treatments for conditions like epilepsy, Parkinson's, and depression. With any technology this powerful, we must pause and consider the ethical implications. The same tool that gives a voice to the voiceless could, in the wrong hands, become a tool for surveillance and control. The primary concern is mental privacy. Your thoughts are your most personal sanctuary. What happens when that sanctuary has a potential digital backdoor? Who gets to access this incredibly sensitive data? How is it stored and protected? The prospect of corporations using brain data for manipulative advertising, or governments using it for interrogation, raises profound questions about our fundamental right to privacy. This leads to the crucial issues of consent and agency. True, informed consent is difficult when the technology accesses the very seat of our consciousness. If our thoughts can be decoded, does that diminish our free will or our ability to deliberate privately before we act? There is a risk to our very sense of self. Our identity is deeply tied to the inner monologue and private world we all inhabit. The possibility of this inner world being made external, even with consent, is something we must approach with extreme caution. We need to ensure that the individual always remains in complete control, with the power to turn the technology on or off at will. Recognizing these profound challenges, a new legal and ethical frontier is emerging, the concept of neurorights. This is a proposed framework of human rights designed specifically to protect the brain and mind from misuse by neurotechnology. These rights include the right to mental privacy, personal identity, and free will. They also address the right to fair access to technologies that enhance mental capabilities, preventing a future where society is divided into the neurotechnologically enhanced and the unenhanced. Nations like Chile, and even the US state of Colorado, have already begun enshrining some of these protections into law, setting a vital precedent for the rest of the world. As we stand here in 2025, we are at a crossroads. Mind-reading AI is no longer just science fiction, and its potential for good is immense. It promises to revolutionize medicine, communication, and our understanding of the human brain. However, this promise comes with a heavy responsibility. We must proceed with a deep sense of ethical stewardship, building robust guardrails of law and regulation to protect our most private selves. The future of this technology is exciting, but its path must be guided by wisdom and a commitment to preserving human dignity, ensuring that it serves humanity, not the other way around.